coming in hot. Here we come. You are here with Brian Rast, Phil Laak, our esteemed guest, Cary Katz, the Late Reg, the last podcast.
No, not poker. It's
Not
just
poker.
the last
Yeah, the
podcast
last
in the world.
podcast.
Everyone else has one.
Everyone and your brother.
We
and
late reg the podcast game, you
Yeah.
know, just like the poker game.
We just decided, to late reg into the podcast universe. It's a lot easier than you think to start your podcast. So guys, if you actually haven't started one, go ahead, start it. It's very friction free. You can just start playing, the podcast game. Okay, Brian.
Okay, so Cary, I'm very excited to have you here. I think there's so many interesting topics that we could talk about. I mean, you're quite the Renaissance man. But what I guess I want to start with a little bit is let's get the audience to get to know you a little bit. And I know that before you got into poker, which is where I met you, and a bunch of other interesting things, like I went to a health clinic in Austin, we'll get into that later, off of your rec and all this kind of stuff. Like, you got your start as a businessman, right? Like you founded a business, it was very successful. So just kind of from a job career progression, however much details you want to get into, like how did you build your business, and do you have any kind of takeaways for people, and
But also intersperse it with your, obviously poker is an amazing
we'll
game.
get to poker later.
No, but you had to have times where you're like, well, I really should put the cards away because I have to get up. I have a 7 a.m. meeting.
Did you even play poker when you started your business, for example? Anyway, take it away and with where you want to go with that.
Start with you finished school, and then you said, I'm going to be a moguler.
All right. Well, no, I finished. I went to University of Georgia, and all I did was party for
you're a party boy.
That's all I did. Yeah, it was literally maybe 4 or 5
Were you
nights
in a frat?
week I went out drinking. No.
Okay.
I just didn't want to have to pay to be cleaning up messes for 3 months. Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't have the stomach to be a pledge, I guess. But
Okay, nice. So you had a real good time in college.
I had a real good time. Yeah, it was basically just a 4-year paid vacation.
And it was like business degree or something, or what was?
Yeah, I got a business degree. And I could never probably get in today. Georgia's really hard to get in now.
Okay.
But
that's when guys at home, when anyone does the humble thing like that, he could ace probably Harvard. And when they say, well, I don't know that means no problem. Easy entry.
No, I was a slacker in school, not like
really?
Brian. You guys were like
I was in between.
Stars.
I wasn't he slacked. I was kind of
he was
moderate.
He was valedictorian.
I had a very impressive high school resume.
He went to Stanford.
College career was not nearly as.
How long did you stay at Stanford?
Yeah. I was there for 4.5 years, of which 1 quarter I was stopped out, and 2 other quarters I failed all my classes.
But you were
including my last one on academic probation is my current standing.
But he was a.
Although they send me alumni shit, so it's maybe they
want you back.
Yeah,
they definitely
want to give you honorary degree.
Yeah. So you finished college. Did you and some friends say, "Let's be mogulers"? Did you work for the man?
No. I God's been good to me, and ultimately I learned a lot of my business from my father. So I learned the student loan business from my dad.
Oh, so he was in the similar adjacent. Or
actually, my father, my father's been an entrepreneur his whole life. He started he was literally selling. He was selling encyclopedias door to door when he was a teen. He used to sell drinks at the ball games for the Atlanta Crackers before there were Braves.
Oh wow!
So
you saw your dad out there hustling.
Well, I didn't see that. I wasn't around then.
Right,
but then he went on. His first business was in the early 70s. He was a salesman, and the company was going out of business. And they're like, look, we can't pay you your paycheck, but we'll leave you with all the tables and the chairs. So he's like, what can I do with this? So he thought of I know Atlanta was becoming a real party town. He's like, I know this state's going to city's going to need a lot of bartenders. So he started the Georgia School of Bartending.
Wow, he just invented that out of his
mind.
He said, we're going to...
started the Georgia School of Bartending.
He had tables and chairs.
Now we know why you were a party boy in college.
Well, no, and then that's where I learned how to bartend.
Oh, right. Oh, you're bartending.
I got to go to the Georgia School of Bartending for free. I did that in college.
Oh, cool.
But, my dad, he was just an entrepreneur. He was always hustled, always working.
So your first job out of college?
It's still my dad. My dad, he's still working 80 hours a week. It's just crazy. He just doesn't stop.
That's wild. When you finished school, did you work for the man in a business, or did you immediately know I'm gonna?
No, I was when I finished school. I had 2 jobs. I was bartending, and I was working for New York Life, and I was selling insurance and pension plans and things like that.
Oh, and so
I was cold calling on companies, which is pretty challenging.
And you saw the numbers and you thought, hey, wait, insurance game, maybe. Is that kind of tumbling? You're like good at it. You're in it. And
no, I mean, well, yeah. What happened is, I got an opportunity out in San Diego. My father was starting a student loan company with an insurance company, and they had a similar product that I was selling in Atlanta. So he convinced me to move out there and to work on their product. But yeah, it just didn't really work out. So I ended up going into the student loan business. And
did you have a partner? Did you own on day one you have the empire in your head, but like you have to have other people work for you?
No. Like, this is before I'm doing it. I'm just making I was working. My father, when he was his business was going to get bought out by Amex.
Yeah.
It was actually not really a huge deal or anything.
Yep.
Believe it or not, it was a really small transaction, like the smallest transaction that Amex would ever do. And he was getting bought out, and but they wanted him not to be in the industry anymore. They didn't want him to compete. I'm like, why don't we compete? These guys don't know what they're doing. Let's compete. So I convinced them. Let's start a student loan company.
Yep.
And we'll just compete. So we took a little less money. We started another student loan company. It was called the National Education Loan Center, and that business, I guess, had a good run. About 2-3 years, we sold it, and then after that business sold, that gave me the capital I needed to start College Loan Corporation because I had a small piece of the National Education Loan Center. And then my dad and my brother started their own company separately. And then I started College Loan Corporation. Just it's whenever you're working with family, eventually you want to be your own man. So
Are there more
I was 29
charge
at the time, and I decided, look, I'm gonna just do my own business, run my own. I was putting in more time to it at the time. I was like really focused. I was ready to work 60, 70 hours a week, and they weren't quite as focused as I was. I felt, so I was thinking, I might as well just work for myself and own the majority of the company.
Did you notice over a period of like 10 or 20 years that people went into arrears and didn't pay their bills as often? I would think in the olden days, and I'm just talking like 80s, 90s, people, I owe this, I pay. I pay. But nowadays, I feel like people are like, I owe that, but maybe I don't pay it and see what happens. Like, did you witness that?
The student loan industry was great because it married the guarantees of the federal government, but with private enterprise. So we College Loan Corporation, we started in 1999. I was 29 at the time. And our first year, we did about $16 million in loans, which wasn't much, right? But then the next year we did like $780 million. So
wait, in 1 year you went from 16 to 7. Where did the money, like when you put out 780, where did that come from?
I had to convince banks to give me a warehouse line.
So the banks,
they would give me a warehouse line. Right. I was just the middleman. They'd give me a warehouse line, and then I would sell the loans directly to the customer.
Yep.
It'd go on the warehouse line, and then it would be sold to the bank.
And so initially, I was comfortable because the government kind of subsidized.
Because the assets are very attractive because they're guaranteed by the government. So even though they have very artificially low interest rates for the student, so the student benefits tremendously from it, right? Because they're getting subsidized rates from the government.
Yep.
Well, the lender benefits at the same time because they're guaranteed to pretty much make about a point on the loan.
I just love the number of 16 million to 700.
So you're
and then we went to $3 billion the next year.
Wait, so your big job
16, 780, $3 billion.
So your big job at that point kind of was you needed to get banks. You were actually kind of talking to banks to get you this line. So like you could basically it's like flow of like loans coming in.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't have $780 million to fund loans.
Yeah.
Right. So we needed a bank to do that.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, guys, what's it called? Takeaway. Takeaway is if you have an idea, there's people that will support you. The banks helped Cary get $3 billion out in loans. Like that's
Wait, so what are some of the, just from a more abstract, like pulling back standpoint for anyone who's either has done a business or thinking about doing, what are some like takeaways that you learned? Because obviously it sounds like your progression was, you were having a good time in college, but then at some point you came out and started working really hard and then, this built up this business. So what were some things you learned that like you could impart to people who want to be an entrepreneur?
I mean, I would say like the most important thing is to have integrity in all your actions with everybody you deal with from top to bottom. Whether it's, with the customer or with your employees, you have to be a man of your word. Yeah. And you have to, and the people you hire have to have high character. And I think early on, you're going to find people, you're going to have employees that in your gut, you feel like I maybe need to move on from this guy, but you don't want to take the action, right? You don't want to take the action to terminate him. You're thinking, well, maybe he'll get better, or I can reprimand him. They never get better. So my thinking is what you usually do is you need to pull the plug on certain employees early in the process. Guys who are just not part of the team, guys who are messing up the energy and the flow of the team.
Yep. Don't cut me loose. Give me a chance with the Late Reg thing, because I know that I don't. That's not a reason. I'm spirit. I'm here.
But I'm not saying, like, there's nothing special about me. I'm literally
There's
just
always something special about the guy that says there's nothing special about me. I promise you, I haven't met a guy yet.
No. It's literally anything I have is because of God. I mean, God. Everything I have is because of God.
Yep.
It's really like all these opportunities I've had. The people I've met in my life, it's just he's put me in a position to have a lot of luck. So I mean, it's my job as a person.
You also put 70-hour weeks in, and you.
No, I understand that. It's my job to do the best I can with the God-given abilities He's given me. But at the same time, the opportunities are there. So I just have to trust in God and do the best I possibly can.
Amen. I hear you with that. I think that it's something. I think there is a tendency, especially with like young people, to really focus on like what you did to make your life happen. And there is no doubt that people do play a large part of taking advantage of the opportunities of their own hard work and their determination. But there's also so many other, your parents, how they raised you, which you have no control over. There all kinds of good luck or bad luck things happen to you along the way, some of which can be so powerful that they either give you the opportunity or take it away. You know, the people that are in your life, because like no man is an island or woman.
Yeah, I remember reading
all of it.
Bill Gates said he never would have been in the career he did and been so successful, except that when from the age of 14 to 17, a mile or two away from his house, and I'm probably getting the story wrong, but basically there was like a college campus with a free computer lab, and he kind of discovered it because there was like ping pong nearby or something. I don't remember, but he started obsessing over, and that opened the door. And he said, wow, if my parents had lived like maybe even 4 more miles away, my bicycle and my little ride, I wouldn't have ended up there. I wouldn't have been exposed to this world. And it was like sensitive dependence on initial conditions. He was like, wow, that was a huge random thing to be around. Like your dad being a hustler, getting stuff done, and looking for opportunities. You're thinking, oh.
After you got out of college, that sounds like it definitely set a bit of example, because you did go into work mode at some point. And even like the least generous, like most humble explanation, or sort of like backfitted explanations, still like you had to take advantage of those opportunities with your hard work. You know,
and look, you learn a lot. You learn a lot from your dad, and then you also learn a lot of things you don't want to do. You don't want to, you know. So I tried to, take the best things that he.
During that time, as you're building and you get the $3 billion and you're doing loans, were you playing online poker like 2 a.m. Any of that stuff?
No. There was no poker.
You hadn't even touched it.
How did you get into poker then? Sort of like you're doing the business. Then when does that happen?
I think I was like everybody else. It was when the Moneymaker thing came on and ESPN. Okay. I got pretty excited.
Like
about
early.
I started watching it.
Did you then expose yourself online or in casinos? When you just said, I'm going to play a hand of poker, where did you physically do that?
Yeah, I started playing a little online. I was terrible. Right, I was getting crushed, and then I read the Cloutier book, and that probably that made me even worse. I was so tight. It was just like it was ridiculous.
Right.
Like it's like the easiest person in the world to read. Yeah, there's just the super tight guy.
Right.
If he bets, he has it.
Yep.
But
at some point you started like, how?
Yeah. Well, what was? Let me put it this way, because I met you playing poker in the early 2010s ish, like when you had just started organizing. I feel like some of the wasn't even what later became the Super High Roller and Poker Bowl, but at very first it was some tournaments that were either at the Bellagio or Aria. But it's like it's still from the Moneymaker to that is 5 to 10 years, kind of depending on.
Well, I had a lot of kids. I mean, I have 6 kids.
6 kids.
Yeah, I have 6 kids.
Did you meet your wife as a bartender? Were you bartending when you met your wife?
No, I met my wife.
College?
No, believe it or not, crazy how the odds that I met my wife were really slim. I remember, I was interviewing for sales reps, right? And I had an ad in the paper, like a little tiny, small little ad in the paper, but it was bold. I had like the only bold ad, and it was like, make like, 20 plus an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
But I made people leave a message, because I found out like if you can't even leave an articulate message on the phone, I'm not calling you back. Right? It saves me a lot of time.
Oh, right, a filtering mechanism.
Yeah, it was a filtering mechanism.
Yeah.
Like, can you leave me an articulate message?
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm like, all right, if they sound good on the phone, that's at least a start, and then I'll call them back and I'll interview them. And she left a really good message. And I remember thinking, but she was in retail sales. Like she had worked at Nordstrom selling shoes or something. And I'm like, the retail people usually don't work out that well. I like people who can grind and call. And I remember the phone call with her. I was saying, well, frankly, I've hired a lot of retail people in the past.
It's gone south.
They never seem to work out.
You just said cold said that?
Yeah, I said that.
Wow.
And then she pauses for a second. She goes, I can sell ice to Eskimos. Or something like that. And I go, wow, okay. She's very confident. So I had her come in for the interview. And then she was coming in for the interview. And at the time, she was in the process of getting divorced from her first husband, or they were separated. I think they were in the process of getting divorced. Okay. And she's like, I don't know if I can go to this interview. I don't really feel like it. And she called her ex-husband. He convinced her, you should go. You should just go to the interview. She's like, a group interview. It's weird. Like a group, because I was trying to be efficient.
Right, you were trying to do 4 or 5, 6.
I'd have people I'd get 8 people in a room, and I'd give them kind of a script to read. And I wanted to see how they sounded and see if they had poise.
Yep.
And, it's amazing how quickly you could weed people out.
Yeah, get 2 or 3 out right away.
Yeah. No, it's like half the people, just couldn't do it, even though they were, pretty good.
I'm curious, in those moments.
So anyways, her ex-husband, she was going to turn around and blow it off and not even go.
Yeah.
But her ex-husband said go.
Her ex, well, at the time, I guess her separated husband convinced her to, just go on the interview.
Just go. Give it a fly.
And the weird thing is that she even found the paper in the first place. She said she stole the paper from her neighbor.
Oh my Lord.
She stole, because she had never looked in the want ads ever before.
Just curious.
She happened to see my small ad in the want ads and then picks up the phone and calls me. So the chances that we would meet were like astronomical.
Right. And then multiply that by the improbability of even existing, and then that this is the blue-green planet.
So she ended up getting the job.
Yeah. She came to the interview. She read well, and she got hired.
Okay, I want to go back just as a dumb question. You're in the room. There's 6 people. 2 are not going to make it. When you let them go,
what I would do is they would read, and then as soon as they read and they were really good, I'd say, okay, you can leave. So they thought, what the hell? Why are you making me leave? And then the people, I'd have them stay and read a second time. The people who were bad. And then I would.
But did you tell them via phone, email, or in person at that very moment? Like, when did they get the disappointing news that they weren't going to have this job? Were they 2 or 3 in the room, and you kind of said, guys?
No. It'd be like I'd interview maybe 8 or 10 at a time, just for efficiency reasons, because we were growing pretty quick. I just remember I would the people who were really good, I would just tell them to leave because I didn't hear them again.
Oh, and you would call them later and say you got a job.
Yeah. I said you got the job. So I remember my wife said she left, and this guy Rob and this other guy left. I had them leave, and they were talking like, we were like the best ones. What the hell?
And they didn't know that they got the job. But the people remaining, did you tell them person to person or via a phone call later? Or how did you disappoint? Is that a hard part about being a business moguler? You're telling somebody it's not going to work out. You had to do that a lot of times.
Normally,
right?
I think you do. You kind of just ghost them.
You ghost them.
Yeah, and usually. I mean, I don't know. I probably wasn't as professional as I needed to be back then, but back in the day, it was just it was a telemarketing job.
Right. It wasn't a big deal. Yeah.
Job. So it's like they came in.
So your wife starts.
They would sometimes follow up if they caught me. I would let them know you didn't get it.
Okay. Right. Yeah. You would be okay. Yeah. But I get it. That's wild. Okay. So then your wife is So how many times did she go to work? Was it a week, a month before you said, "Hey, would you like to have coffee?"
Well, I had a girlfriend at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend. And then I think she found out my girlfriend at the time, her name was Betty.
Yep.
And she was like the first person I met when I moved to San Diego. And we'd been dating about 2 years. And then I just decided to break up with her. And
2 years is an amount of time when it's like,
I don't want to
know it's like not.
Yeah, I didn't want to waste her time at that point. And so
you do the breakup, and then you're like, hey.
Well, then my wife found out. I mean, Jackie found out that I broke up. She goes, "Really?
Oh,
I broke up with Betty." And then we went out. We went on a lunch date the next day, and I was like, "Yeah, you gotta help me find the right woman." She goes, "I'm the perfect woman for you."
Wait, she said that?
Yeah, on our first.
Oh,
date.
This girl, I can tell Eskimos, and I'm the woman, and that's. What, and then you looked at her with new eyes, and you're like, maybe.
Yeah.
That's wild. Wow. And then from that moment, how long before you said nuptials and let's do it and let's?
Then we were pretty much together every day almost from that point forward.
That's beautiful.
Haven't skipped a beat.
And she always did. And as you built the business, was there a point where you
She
said,
named the
hey,
company, College Loan Corporation. She's the one who named the company.
Wow.
So that was good. She had good instincts on that.
And so as you built, she was still working there. It wasn't like she went.
No. She
Eventually,
as soon as we started dating, she stopped working.
oh, she stopped working.
Yeah. No.
I was thinking you would wait for the kids for that moment, but she.
Well, the point, she had 3 boys. So the 3 boys were from her first marriage, and then she had 3 girls with me.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
So this, like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
3 girls, 3 boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you had 3 boys. She had 3 girls. So
She had 3 boys.
She had 3
And
boys.
then we had 3 girls together.
Wow, and you had 3 girls. Okay, wow, that is Brady Bunch. 3 and 3.
Yeah. And now we already have 6 grandkids, and now we got 2 more on the way. So we're going to hit 8. And
Wait,
I got the
how
new
are you
and the new
sub
over
60 with
and the
6
new
grandkids?
and the
That's
new over
impossible.
under and the new over under now is going to be like 17. I think, because I still got 3 daughters, or I still got 2 daughters that haven't started.
That's close to the Phil Hellmuth bracelet number. I think he's 19. So you're just going to be trailing him by a little bit.
I think he'll get more bracelets than I have grandkids.
That's wild, bro. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, nice. Congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a big family.
And then when did you pivot? So at some point, you start dibbling with poker more than just like an online Sunday tournament.
I'd
Like,
say between 2004 and 2000.
oh, the moneymaker effect. Yeah.
I
It
was
was kinda
we were
like
going
your
to the
getaway-
Vegas. I was going out to Vegas every 3 months or so to play a tournament or so.
Right.
Between this growing company and a family, I guess poker was kind of your like me time. Like I'm going to get away and do something fun.
No, I bring my wife. We'd bring the family out to Vegas.
Oh, they.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no way I was. Yeah. She was
No, but they
I'm
didn't.
gonna go
They
Vegas
didn't,
by myself.
No, but they didn't play. But they didn't play poker though, or did they?
Who?
Did your wife play poker?
No.
No.
Yeah. She played some online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her
So
screen name was a USC Queenie.
oh, okay. So you played talk poker as well then.
But
It
you would
wasn't
like do the spa and take the kids to whatever when you were in a.
Yeah.
tournament
We'd go to Vegas and she'd have fun with the kids and do stuff. And
Yep.
I'd be playing poker.
Okay.
We stay like at Bellagio or something.
Wow. That's wild. I didn't know all that.
So how did poker progress? So you're just playing poker, but then at some point you started organizing poker, and then even like the Poker Go company.
Yeah.
And so how did it go from? Because that's one thing, like you're blowing off steam, or you're just enjoying the game, or the intellectual challenge, and whatever, all
Okay,
those reasons and more. But then how does it become like all of a sudden you're doing entrepreneurial like organization and company?
Yeah. Wait, before you answer that, I want to also weave into that. What percent of your impetus to be the poker business guy was driven by the fact that you would play a tournament and then 4 hours later people would still be trickling in and you never knew, like the Late Reg thing, because I thought that was quite innovative. You're like, hey, if you sign up by noon or you're in the line, no registration fee. You just come in for the fee. And I was like, who is this guy? That's like
By the way,
brilliant.
you made more than one. Because there's also the Big Blind Annie, but let's get to that later. Because that's like
That
something
one
you
thing
did.
was
You didn't like. By the way, you didn't like
I
the
didn't
Big
like
Blind
the Big
Annie at
Blind
first.
Annie at first.
He scolded me on the Big Blind Annie. He
that-
scolded me when we implemented
Really?
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about-
I don't like this.
Did you say this has to change? Like everyone should just be here by noon, and then.
Well, I was the biggest culprit, right? Let me give you the thing that was.
You're really jumping forward in the timeline.
Okay, sorry,
with this
yeah.
question, bro.
Let's just go. I got to go on the Big Blind Annie thing
Okay,
real
go-
quick
okay, do
because
it.
it's interesting. I don't know if you remember, but in the world, I'm sure you remember this. There was a level in the World Series where it was like 400, 800 blinds with a 75 ante.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to get 3 of the green chips.
Yes.
Which we don't have anymore, right? But you had to have 3 of the green chips, which means like there's 9 people at the table, like 4 people would need change, like each turn. It was like, it was so inefficient and insane. And believe me, I was the last guy who would remember to put an ante in too. So there's always a guy who's forgetting to put the ante.
I'm worse than you. I still.
So it hit me when I was playing a cash game in Bellagio with JRB, and they were having a big blind ante just to speed the game up. I'm like, wow, we got to do this in the tournaments.
Right. So
That's
you're
where I copied.
The thing I didn't like initially, in a cash game, it made a lot of sense because everybody has a ton of money. But I was worried, and probably other people that objected too, that like maybe it would cause problems for like the sub 10 big blind stacks. But it actually turns out that it's not that big a deal, and it's totally worth it. And it also basically stops the unfairness of someone who ends up not paying. Like, cause sometimes they would collect because the dealer wouldn't
And
be
it would
paying
be one
attention and be,
shot.
like short.
Yep.
And now it's like, who didn't do it? And they're never going to find out. So it saves time, and it saves kind of the unfairness of someone not paying an ante. And so it was a great innovation. But yeah, that was the initial concern. And yeah, I was just, I'll take the L. I was wrong. But like, I have no, but anyway, wait.
He didn't like change.
So that plus, but when you started Poker Go, were you thinking, hey, I'm doing this, that? Like, did you have in your mind, poker should have these changes, and I'm I'm going to just be the king and make a thing, and it will be.
Wait, Phil, hold on, because now let's go back to my initial question, brother.
Yeah.
So your family, this and poker is probably serving a number of whatever things you like and why you're playing. But how do you go from I'm like poker's, I'm like semi-serious or however serious amateur you are to now all of a sudden you're organizing tournaments in Vegas, because that's actually when I met you in the early 2010s. Let's do that first before we even get to poker go.
Right. Well, the reason I started playing a lot more poker is I decided to relocate. We were coming to Vegas a lot anyways, and the business was doing well. I decided to move the business from San Diego to Vegas. So I told, at the time, at one point we had like 700 employees.
Wow.
But the government took the program over. So at that point we became more of a holding company. So I had to downsize from, we funded $20 billion in loans over about a 7-year span. 7-year span or so.
Damn.
And so we had a really good run, and it had like a great infrastructure set up, and we were probably going to do $5 billion in loans a year, and it was going to be a mega huge company. But the government took the industry over, so
when you say the government,
they basically you can only get the federal student loans from the federal government. They cut out the middleman. They got rid of all the private companies. So.
And you were a middleman, so you said, okay, I have to phase to a new.
So we exited the program, and then we became more of a holding company at that point.
So
I had to go down. So I didn't need all these employees, so we went down from 700 down to about 40 employees.
For the innocents, myself partially included, holding company. Can you just give a one sentence?
Meaning we just had a lot of assets. Like we had, at the time we had about maybe 10 plus billion in assets under management. So we just,
in other words, they have all these loans that they're holding and still servicing and whatever, but they're not adding new.
There's no reason to create new loans, because any new loan was going to be, the government made it so that it'd be unprofitable.
Okay.
So there was no reason to be in the business.
So you held your business. Okay. Gotcha.
But so you're in Vegas because you moved.
So at that point, I relocated the business in 2009 from California to Vegas, and at that point, I'm in Vegas, so there's a lot of
now the real.
And I remember I was like grinding like the Venetian $500 events and stuff, and actually probably my best poker accomplishment is I won back-to-back Venetian, like I think one was like a 400 and one was like a 500. I won them back-to-back.
Yeah,
like it was pretty big fields. I was like, that was like my best accomplishment for sure. In poker.
I looked at your Hendon Mob, sir. Do you know how many first places the Hendon Mob has you winning?
No.
Brian guessed within 2. I'll tell you what it is. Guys at home, this is amazing. I think I have like 3 firsts. Cary has 32 first places. Now, a lot of them might have just been 500, 1,000, or whatever. There was some that you put in 100K and you win and stuff too. But
I've run amazingly well in 100Ks for some reason.
Yeah, I
It's
noticed.
a good one to run good in.
Yeah. A ton of your wins were and placing 5th or higher. A lot of them were 100Ks plus.
Yeah.
That's like, that's a lot.
Well, so you're in Vegas, and
then
you're
I started
playing
playing
some
more,
tournaments at whatever local casinos.
Yeah, and I was just playing the local stuff. There wasn't that, it was like 1 or 2 WPT events a year. So
and now the holding company's kind of doing its own thing, heartbeat going. You're really sneaking off, and you're playing like.
Now I have more time, right? The business is kind of like just operating itself at this point.
Yeah,
I don't.
And you like poker.
So you basically just wanted to organize like kind of bigger tournaments, because there wasn't enough regular bigger tournaments.
2013 or so, I think we ran the first high roller at the Bellagio, and I convinced him. I said, "Look, I'll personally guarantee the $100,000 prize pool. Let's just run it." And I barely got any players. We got like 6 players, and we had one guy rebuy like 5 times, so we got 11 entries.
Yeah.
So we barely made the guarantee. That guy ended up winning, fortunately. But
so wait, you had
the very first Bellagio high roll. No, it was 100K guarantee.
Oh, 100K guarantee.
I got Bellagio to run it, and we got 11 entries.
Okay.
And one guy fired 5 bullets in it, and he won the tournament.
And you told the fellas in the brush, the floor, I'll guarantee it.
And I kept the 100K guarantee in for a while until it became obvious that we were never going to miss a 100K guarantee.
Right,
And then I got rid of it.
Yeah.
And then eventually we were running the Bellagio, and they were doing quite well. It was a lot of fun, because the reason I started it is because I remember looking at the calendar and I'm like, wow. I was looking like at the first 6 months of the calendar to the World Series. There wasn't like a single 10K.
There wasn't.
Right, yeah.
There wasn't like a single one on the calendar. I go, I know there's demand for this.
It was like the WPT in December. There was the WSOP stuff, and then there was the WPT like in April or something. They had their championship, and that was kind of it in Vegas. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was something else, but.
Wow.
If you wanted to play like 10K plus tournaments.
On day 1, did you have that idea of free, no registration fee if you get here?
No. That came much later.
That came much later, and I just realized it was just so many people would come in. They come in late and they'd be like eyeing the table and seeing who the players are. At this point, it was a marketing idea. It's like, look, let's just go zero rake. It's more important just to get people in on the table. And if the game starts, then people are going to come back in anyways. They're all a bunch of degenerates. They're going to come back.
Yeah, what are they going to do?
At that point, they're not going to care whether they leave. They're going to go home. They busted 2 hours. They're going to leave.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Knowing that
it's because the problem when you run small enough field tournaments is it's hard to get it started. Not enough people would show up like it's supposed to start then, and people are like, oh, I can late reg for a bunch of hours. So,
why don't want to go on time and grind with with Ike and Bonomo or whatever.
I remember my first 100K. I actually was one of those like looking at the tables, and it was at the Bellagio, and I'm like, well, 100K, it's a lot, but like, and I would look, and then I would like notice.
You cashed that one.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember I bubbled it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I've only played 4.
Okay, I got over it.
It is so crazy that you remember bubbling a random 100K, and then
I've got a really good memory on stuff like that.
I've only done 3 or 4 100Ks, and I'm break even on it, and I'm like, what was I doing? It's too scary for me.
I even remember in that 100K, I played a king queen suited way too tight when I should have gone all in. I remember. I go, wow, it probably cost me. I would have cashed.
Dude, I can tell you, I might have played one or I think I played at Bellagio before it had moved to Aria, but when I really played regularly was when you had moved it to Aria. They were pretty awesome at first because it was kind of like you were organizing and like you had contacts, and obviously like anyone, the most important thing is people that aren't just like pros. Yeah. So you're talking and people were coming out of town.
Recreational players.
And for a long time, it's like they were kind of small enough that no pros or very few pros would come that weren't already in Vegas. So they were like great tournaments. I remember playing, like, you doing that is part of how I got into like playing more tournament poker, right? Because prior to that, I would play like not that many tournaments in the year, and I was very predominantly a cash game player. But it's like now you were setting up this thing where like every month, every other month or whatever, like there would be 3 to 5. It just depended on how long you could set it up for. It was like 10Ks and later maybe like 15 or 20. I don't even remember, but like sometimes 25. And then as it went, it got a little bigger. But it's like now all of a sudden that's a decent, with rebuys. So it's like a decent amount of action.
We were running 25s, and they were getting like 40, 50 like every time.
Yeah.
That's
wild.
Great.
How deep into this?
All of a sudden now it's like if you were just living in Vegas, you could actually get a decent amount of tournament action, which it then changed. And I'm like, it prompted me to like study ICM a little bit, which I did by playing like hyper sit and goes and then like running some of the hands. I did one year, maybe it was like 2014 or whatever. But yeah, it was like, it was awesome. They were like good tournaments. You kept perfecting the structure as well because the whole idea was like, hey, these aren't supposed to run very long, right? Like 1 or 2 day tournaments depending. And so
they were all 1 days back then.
Yeah, they were one
day.
Yeah,
1 day.
MK 1 day.
How can we?
But we were so efficient though. Like 30 minutes of play in those events was like an hour in play in other events, right? Because it was a big blind ante. We got time clocks in.
All kind of optimizations about like how much you should start with, like when it should like move the fastest around the rebuy period. I mean, it was like a lot of, and it was like constant, like from one event to the next event, or one series of events to the next. There would be little adjustments and improvements.
You start at 12 and you'd finish up at like 2, 3. It was a long day. It was not. It was a long.
Still was a long day.
Yeah,
it was like 14, 15.
Yeah. I mean,
but like
it
at
was
what
a 2-day event in one.
Yeah. At what point? When did you say, wow, if we had a studio and we were to call it Poker Go Studio and have a dedicated little area for ourselves, like at some point you're starting to think that would be amazing. And then now we have it, but what was...
That was 2015, and when we did the first Super High Roller Bowl, and just the expense of having to set up in a ballroom was just absurd. And obviously at the time, Maury wasn't working for me. He was working for me as a contractor, so he was probably, the price was going to be a lot higher than what it would be today. So...
So you thought...
So anyways, I'm thinking it would be so much more efficient if we could just have a studio.
A dedicated, sit there continuously.
I remember the first Super High Roller Bowl very fondly.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Is that the one where you said, I'm sorry, Phil, I have the nuts? Was that a different...
No, that was my first 50K PPC. This one I played Scott Heads Up. But yeah, it was in the ballroom at Aria.
Well, you had the pivotal hand. It was like literally close to the money bubble, and it was you and Roble. and I think either you had ace king and he had queens, or was
Yep.
that was the big hand.
was
That was
a
like
huge
that was
race,
for all the chips.
It was a big. It was a pretty big pot. I won the flip.
Wow. Robles wins all the flips. Like he
No, not in,
lost the flip.
not in tournaments.
Not in tournaments?
No, he does it all in cash. Real money. He does it.
And then I basically then had the chip lead for most of the final table, actually, until I played an enormous pot with Scott with like 3 people left, where I had kings and he had 9s, and he won. And I mean, amazing spot for, I think it was Connor, I believe, who came in 3rd, and he just sees Scott, who it's like, I have a chip lead, but Scott is in 2nd by like a lot, and Connor and all, he sees us blind versus blind, just get it all in, and Scott flops a 9. And I lose like a massive. Now I'm actually have about as many as Connor, or like slightly less or more or something. And then I actually, like 4 hands later or something, get it in 9s to kings versus him and hit a 9. He's out.
Against Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, that was a huge pot. Like 80% of the chips in the tournament or something or more, something crazy. And
Was
Scott
that televised? That was televised, right? The
I'm
high
sure
roll
it's
ball.
I'm sure
yeah.
it's recorded.
all that,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember some of the.
Yeah, I remember actually, dude, I was so like locked in that I like wasn't tilted. I was like, okay, like this is just happening. Like now I'm tied for 2nd, whatever. It's like, you know, I just didn't even let myself get upset.
Beautiful.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's probably why you won.
I mean, obviously a good run of cards helped, but but that also helped. It's exactly what you're talking about. It's like the meeting of, you know, mostly luck, but then also the opportunity. Like, thank you, God, like for letting me run good and coming back to win. That was mostly not in my power, but I didn't fuck it up by like getting super upset. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I saw that clip a few days ago where I think it was Jason Kuhn had king 10, and somewhere in there he had 2 pair and you. No, he had 2 pair and you had a set of 7s.
No, that was against Alex Foxen.
Oh, Foxen, right.
Yeah.
And then on the river, boom, he hit it. And I was like, I'm like at those stakes.
That was for the chip. That was for the chip lead on the bubble.
Ginormous, huge. I was like, I take the pain at the 5K, 10K level. You guys doing it at the super, it's like insane.
Wait, so what I want to know is, for the first Super High Roller Bowl, like, had you started Poker Go yet, or this was you were?
Well, at the time it was Poker Central.
Yes, that's right.
We started that in. It started like it really launched in 2015. I found it in 2014, but it really didn't launch until.
With all of your own capital, did you take strategic business partners and have them?
I took a little money from Rast.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, but you know, he insisted, but I funded it.
Nice.
Well,
why didn't you?
I don't recommend funding.
Well, actually,
don't
do it. Don't fund.
You signed me as a pro, I believe.
Yeah,
me
as an
and
ambassador.
Antonio and our ambassador or whatever, and a couple other people, if I recall.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first 3 ambassadors I think were Phil, Antonio, and
Yep.
Negrano, the big 3, and then you came on a little later. You and Maria.
Yeah. So, okay, so you had started it, and along with the Super High Roller Bowl, and it kind of transitioned to Poker Go. Was that just like a name rebrand, or
that's when we launched the subscription product in 2017? So then everybody just our brand too hard. It's hard enough to build one brand. So Poker Go was what everybody was calling us anyway. So I just scrapped the Poker Central name and renamed the business Poker Go.
I heard through the grapevine that a lot of the strategy behind the distribution wasn't like YouTube necessarily, but it was like Prime. What do you call it? Streaming services like Amazon or Hulu or whatever it is. Was that like over 80% of the revenue model was selling a packaged kind of stuff to delivery streams?
We got like 3 main buckets. It's you have we have sponsorship revenue. We have streaming revenue that comes in like off of YouTube and say like Amazon Prime and Pluto, and other networks, and Roku and other networks we're on. And then we have the subscription platform. So it's kind of those are the 3 main buckets, and we have some licensing revenue that comes in too.
That's wild. Cool.
So any takeaways or something, like what's the number one thing you'd say is like a difference between, so you had this other business which was student loans, and now it's this like poker streaming.
Well, student loan business that thing was printing money.
Yeah.
Poker Go is not printing money.
Right.
Right now.
It's the passion project.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I mean, we did 5 billion minutes viewed last year, so it's a lot.
5
Yeah.
billion minutes
Yeah.
viewed for Poker Go content.
Yeah, worldwide.
Okay, that's a lot of attention from humans.
I can say as a mixed game player, I am so happy with the mixed series because the thing is there are a lot of options for people that want to play no limit hold'em tournaments, really, right? Like all over the world, stuff happening. I mean, you could play kind of a ridiculous amount, but mixed, there's really, I mean, the mixed thing that happens in the spring, I think it was like the beginning of February this year.
It was a good
Really outside of the WSOP, it's like by far the next best option. So I love that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You can also play mixed games at poker. What is it called?
Phenom Poker.
Right. They got like Victor is
It's well run. Did you see the photo at the 25K final table of all of us sweating? They kind of like let us. Phil asked, he's like, hey,
that's a great picture. Toom.
He's like, hey, can I sweat the river? So the dealer dealt the river face down to him, and he's sweating it because he's all in.
Humans all on
and then
each
like
person. Yeah.
Yuri and I, no, Phil Sternheimer.
Oh, Sternheimer.
And then Yuri and I are like leaning over his shoulder, like looking as he sweats it. It's a great photo because it's like you just never see that in a tournament. It's such like a cash gamey type thing, but it was cool. It was like the three of us at the final table, like vibe. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, it's almost like a home game playing in the studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Somebody joked and said it's my man cave.
Yeah.
You built the
that's a good
ultimate man
The
cave.
ultimate man cave.
That is really, really what it is. It's perfect too because it's like the first time to try and find that spot, you're like, where? I don't understand it. And then when you find it, you're like, perfect. It's like perfectly located.
Well, especially if you got a place like at the Waldorf. It's like you can get to your room in the Waldorf in like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, a few minutes.
Wow,
That's where Dan Shack has a place.
Wow, that's close.
I call it the Shack Shack. That's where I go on breaks.
Right, yeah.
So, okay, so we've gotten through this business, but now we're at poker. Let's just say it. Phil, you had looked it up. What is the amount of money and place on Hendon Mob that Cary Katz has?
42,590,000.
Where is he right now? Is that like 11th?
No, I'm way down. I haven't played Triton in years, so
people are just racking that up.
Yeah. You got like Triton. The Triton guys are doing like 8-10 million in buy-ins a year or something crazy, or 8 million, maybe 8 million.
Oh, right.
What do they do? It's like 6 to 8 at least.
I know you used to go to Triton some.
I did the traveling thing for maybe like 2.5 years. That was enough. It was just too much.
So your poker,
and there's so much here.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I never was. I did very little traveling for tournament poker. I couldn't really take it because again, especially when you started, I loved it. There's like all of a sudden I could just play a bunch of tournaments in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So
like going to Jeju is not a place I really.
So what is your approach to? So you have. I was saying this to Phil right before we started when you were out of the room, but it's like I think by my memory, you're probably the person who has cashed for the most who's like not really technically a professional poker player. Like you've made most of your money in other stuff. Like, obviously you play quite seriously at this point, but you did more in life. You got in, you started business, all this. So wouldn't count you per se as a professional as that being your main thing. So as that person, it's very curious because it's like we could ask this question to the like Chidwicks and the Coons and their answers probably going to be very similar, but like how have you approached poker? Like you started playing it seriously, now you're playing high rollers, you're playing against real tough competition, and how have you approached like how am I leveling up my game? Like am I just playing, am I studying, am I doing other things like meditation or what? Like how did Cary Katz go about getting to 42 million in cash?
Yeah, 42.5 million. And by the way, when I go in a little tournament at the WSOP and I'm like doing the Hendon Mob on somebody, sometimes I'll just sweep to see when did they start playing poker. And you measure in time, you go like this. Did your sweep thing goes, you're back in 2004 is where you started really like poke. Like it's a lot of volume. You've done a lot. You don't just have like 18 cashes, you have like like 18 swipes worth of a lot. I don't know what I'm saying, except you have a long resume. Resume.
I'll tell you, the best thing for me is just by getting to play with the best players, I see what they're doing, so I can copy the things I like, and then I can kind of take advantage of the things I don't like.
Yeah.
Right? Like when they were all doing those little tiny little bets on the flop, you can float a lot, steal pots. There's just
I've seen you do tricky things here and there. I'm like, Cary's got this tricky button on him,
I'm just trying to like play my opponent more than anything. It's less about the cards.
Nice.
And the good news, I really remember how people play, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, it does
So
sound
people
like you
play.
have a very good.
Yeah, and they're coming
memory.
to your man cave. They better
But you know what? I don't know. It's weird too because I had like a 4-year run where it was like 4 really good years in a row, and then you start thinking you're better than you are, and then last couple of years I've been getting really humbled. So like this year too is like maybe the worst year I've ever had. I mean, I literally just cannot. Every time I'm. I feel like I'm playing better than I've ever played, but like the results are horrendous. So
well, I mean, when Foxton hits the 10 on the river, and
yeah, I mean that's for the chip lead. You're out on the bubble. It's a
Yeah.
big. It's a big. It's a lot of variance. It's a big swing, but
Yeah.
you get. It's
Also,
it's
how many
humbling.
tournaments do you think you've played this year?
A lot. I mean, I would consider I'm probably in last place. I'm in last place. I mean, if you look at the results this year, it's just this year has been bad, but it's okay. It's like that's life.
When you say a
everything,
lot,
like
were you-
I'm so grateful. My life's going so good. You can't complain, right? And my wife and I too, we've come up with a new goal, and our goal is to stop complaining entirely. Rewire our brain. You know why? Because this she sent me this Instagram clip on it, and it basically said whenever you complain, it's almost like you're sinning because you're basically saying, God, you haven't done enough for me. When God has done more for me than anybody.
Right,
Like
yeah.
I'm incredibly grateful, and I need to be very grateful. So like if I complain about a meal or something, my wife's, are you complaining? I'm like, oh no, not complaining.
Also, your brain
So we're
doesn't
like,
know.
but it's kind of cool. It's a game. Now we're like catching each other if we complain.
Yep.
Because we have absolutely no reason to ever complain.
Yep.
We should have complete gratitude and thanks for
Yeah.
the lives we've been given.
Yeah.
Yep. And I on a little one of those, comes into your feed, and you go, oh, that's right. And your cortisol and a lot of the things that happen in your brain.
Yeah.
If you relive something that happened 10 years ago that was annoying to you, and you relive it today, your brain goes through a lot of the same maneuverings of cortisol, all the like spikes on it. It's like, yeah, why are you reliving that? Let it go. You have to really let go of the scrappy things that didn't work out well for you in the past. If they were big traumatic things like, whatever it might be, your leg gets sawed off by,
No,
it's
look,
not gonna
you're right.
happen,
It's hard.
like something-
It like your mind naturally, it's just natural to start thinking negative thoughts or to complain or to, what's not good in your life. It's hard to it's hard to take a step back and be grateful for all the things you have, right?
Yep.
Go to Jeju and all of a sudden you're very grateful for the United States, right?
Wow, little dig, shots fired.
Oh,
How do you reconcile the act of so I very much agree with what you're saying, and I also have noticed that like when I have the attitude of gratitude and that disposition, it's much better for me, my mental health, my performance, just everything. That said, there is an element of, and this is, I think, why sometimes, especially high-performing people can get negative is like, you're trying to fix the problems. Like, like this is an issue, like let me fix it. And then the complaining, or maybe you can do it without complaint. Like, how do you reconcile? Like, do you fix something and recognize the problem, but without complaining about it? Like, how do you keep the ability to say, hey, like, I need to change this or whatever, but then keep the gratitude? Like, how are you doing that?
Do you use Elliot Rowe at life coach stuff? Or
Phil, for the
so we've
I've talked to him before. Yeah, not in a while, but yeah, I think he's a good guy. I'll tell you, I had a really interesting thing about attitude. When I won the bracelet, I was heads up with this Brazilian player, and he had the crowd was behind him, and they were like intensely like rooting for him. It was kind of cool. And I had him up. I was up like 3-1 in chips. Like I was all in. I had ace 10 versus no, I had ace 10 versus like 6-7 suited or something. Yeah. And he literally flops me dead, and the crowd goes crazy, right? And now all of a sudden we're tied up. And I remember the old me would have been like it took me 55 years to learn this, right? The old me would have felt sorry for myself, and I would have got stuck in the momentum. And instead I was able to actually enjoy the moment. And I actually celebrated with him, with the Brazilian guys. I went in there and I celebrated with the Brazilian crowd.
For some reason, I actually think I watched this, even though I'd watched
I literally celebrated with the crowd because it was such a cool moment. Really?
Yeah, no, incredible. And
it was like, so I just said, because I just...
That's a guy who loves poker right there.
Yeah, I just said, you know what, this is so cool, I'm just going to celebrate with him. But I swear to God, the very next hand, universe rewards me, gives me aces. Man. I win a nice pot, get a little momentum, win a flip, win the bracelet.
Yeah.
The old me would have been like negative and like feeling sorry for myself. I could have, I was a favorite in that hand. I could have won a bracelet, and it would have unraveled.
Yeah.
Because I don't know,
For me,
it's so hard to maintain that. I don't know. You got to be vigilant about your attitude.
Vigilant.
You really do. It's constant. It's like,
Gary, I'll like personally, I'm like, okay, I'm a non-practicing urban Buddhist. I understand that attachment is the cause of suffering. I must release attachment. I'm attached to that, release. And as much as I'm intellectually aware of how to free yourself from bondage of the attachment loop suffering, so often I'm like, wait, did you just forget all the stuff you've learned? Like, why are you in this mind trap right now? Hello. Like, it's hard to stay in a good, clear, it's like I fall off the train or whatever, the good thinking train, like way more often than I would think, considering I'm very aware of what I need to be doing. It's like,
see, to me, when I'm locked in, doing it with poker is like pretty easy for me. I feel like if I'm locked, okay, like this bad stuff happened, whatever, or good stuff happened, I'm just like, the next hand is all that matters. Like my performance in the next hand and like what I'm going to decide and being focused, like there's nothing exists outside of this table, boom. I guess for me, the thing that can be tougher with the attitude of gratitude and not having these fixations is more like, okay, in my life, I have this problem. That's not, because like in poker, it's so easy in a way, right? Like you can be fixated on the past, but then again, you just have the next hand. And it's like, once you learn, it's like, I'm just moving on to the next hand. But then in life, sometimes I feel like you have like this lingering problem that for whatever reason you can't resolve. And
like
now how do
your
you,
house is under construction.
yes. Like, how do you go about, like, what are some of your tricks or like mental ways that you keep gratitude? And it's like, okay, I'm going to try to solve this problem, but then not complain about it. Because I don't know, for me, I feel like it's tougher with lingering problems in life than with poker. Do you know? What are some Cary Katz like methods for this?
I don't know if there's any shortcuts for it. I think you got to like, you have to be vigilant and you just have to catch yourself. And in my case, with Jackie, she's great at like, I mean, just a little game of like, I mean, what wife is going to want you to point out her complaining?
right.
Like, so it's like a great partner that we're both like actually trying to stop complaining entirely,
Right.
by pointing it out for each other, by helping each other. So it's
Well, I'm the guy when
relationships that are, it's
finding
better
a
than
good
it's ever been.
relationship,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just
if something comes to me wrong in a restaurant situation, I have never no matter how bad it is or what they messed up, I just go, wow, I'm so lucky to be able to, like restaurant mishaps are effortless for me. I'm like, wow, I have food. Thank you. And then I like whatever it is, no matter how bad they messed up. I would never in a million years consider like, oh, because then the food goes and everyone's eating. I just go, oh, this is my new meal. Okay. And so some stuff is effortless, but other stuff, not so effortless.
I guess it's all almost kind of the same thing. Right. Even like I was making this mental model differentiation between what's happening in poker and life, but it's still kind of the same thing. Like this bad luck hand happened, but then you have the next one. It's like really the same thing in life, I guess.
Yeah, it's like
some shit happened that wasn't great, but now you're on today, and today you're just going to make the best of today with whatever you can do, you know? Like I guess I'm just some nerd that's had way more practice with poker. So I'm good at it, but
I think you just everybody has to just focus on the big picture and they got to focus on on the incredible blessings they have in their life. Because most people have a lot of blessings in their life. If they take a seat, a step back and they look at it.
Yep. Yeah.
It's such a key to, I feel like happiness is this term that gets used and it is kind of, but I almost feel a better term is like satisfaction. Like a key to really feeling satisfied is, I know if I just like wake and I, thank you God for everything you've given me in my life. Wow. Like I've really been blessed. And it just changes your outlook on that day. Like, so, like it's incredible. I mean, I know it's almost trite at this point, this idea of like, oh, like the gratitude practice, like everybody's been talking about it, but actually doing it is a really just like a lightening experience. I feel like it's very easy to get down on things and then become negative. And that also makes you a difficult person to be around. I know like when I'm in that mode.
I love when Rasty goes on they're called Rasty rants, where we have a few on film. They're like,
so,
great.
So,
he goes
yeah.
from, There was one that somebody secretly filmed down in New Orleans, and it was one of the best because it was all logic, all superheated and targeted, like focus. I was like, wow, I haven't been this close to one in a while, you know? And then he came back down and you were normal Rast again.
Dude, Cary is, we used to have like pretty intense, I forget when this was, but like 7 years ago or something, I had just written this article on global warming. And Cary, for like a year at all the poker
I was always ribbing him.
We'd like bring it up and we would start like an hour-long global warming debate that everyone else at the table would have to like suffer through.
And you were like part trolling him, but part like felt you were right, but you didn't mind winding him up, right? It's fun to wind him up.
Yeah, they used to worry about global cooling back in the day. That was back in the 80s. The globe was going to turn into a big ice.
Right, yeah.
And then it became global warming, but then all of a sudden, it's not getting hot anymore. Okay, climate change. We're covered.
That covers everything. We got everyone.
Now open up the checkbook. Now government has a reason to take iron-fisted control of the economy.
Yeah.
But
I would say my feeling is I do believe there is human-caused climate change, but I also think the amount of alarmism that's happening from that side is a little unwarranted. Really, and that I feel like we don't fully understand exactly what we're doing versus what's natural.
I think one thing we could agree on is that government bureaucrats are not going to be able to control the temperature.
Correct.
Government bureaucrats can't
do isn't there? I mean, I don't know what it is.
Anything right, Cary.
You probably know more than me, but I remember when I was in high school.
He probably knows more than everybody because he had a business dealing with the government.
Right. But isn't there I remember seeing a chart in college at some point where, wow, the Earth was covered by ice, and then wow, it all melted, and then the ice came back, and I'm like, wait, what? Every 30 or 70,000 years, and I was looking at this graph, and of course, I was like, is that the path? Does the Earth really get covered in ice every 30, 70,000 years? Is that what's happening? I don't know. That's what I remember reading. I don't know. Was that false? Did I get AI slop in my head when I was younger?
There are definitely periods of time where like ice increases due to, there've been some cataclysmic like global level extinction events according to like the geological record. Right, such as the one that ended the Cretaceous period with the dinosaurs, which we believe was a meteorite that came where it was like off the coast of the Yucatan or whatever, and like just covered the Earth with this and that, and first the explosion, and it's like some crazy percent of like species died according to the estimation. But
we crawled into the caves and we were very, very determined. We must live, eating like
mammals. That was like the shift from really dinosaurs kind of. There was actually a pretty interesting documentary on Netflix. It wasn't like too complicated that I just watched, like a 3-parter. Actually, it was kind of reptiles that transitioned into dinosaurs over a multi-100-million-year period.
Was that the one on dinosaurs? I watched the first one. Yeah.
But then it was like that meteor marked. It's like basically almost all dinosaurs died. The ones that didn't basically became birds or whatever because they were small enough. Because it was a problem. If you were too big, and a lot of very big dinosaurs, it was very hard to survive.
Yep.
But some mammals made it through. Warm blood helped out a lot with that kind of climate change.
It's wild.
But yeah.
Hey, can we go to Health Maxine? There's a tour.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay, because when I came in, Rast was a few minutes late, and Cary and I were talking about like somehow we just got into eyes.
Do you want to do?
I was blown away. I want to go straight to eyes because
okay.
Eyes is amazing. So you can a long time ago. If you wanted to get better vision, you could go through radial keratotomy where they would slice kind of like an apple slicer and then it would heal and blah, blah. Then they went to the next thing, which was like laser etching. And now there's something I didn't even know that Cary did, which is they take part of your, tell them what you did. This is insane.
Okay, well, look, I was, from the age of like 12 on, I've been pretty much just blind. I mean, I had 2,500 vision.
That's
so I wore daily contacts, for 40 years.
Oh wow!
And which was fine. I didn't mind doing, every day. You take them out in the morning. Then you got glasses by the bed, and then I got to the point where I couldn't see my phone. The up close vision started going. I'm like, oh, now I'm going to need contacts and readers. So I'm like, screw this. I'm just not. That's just too much. So I decided to get lens replacement surgery, which is what older people do when they get cataracts. But you can do it at any age, really. And in my case,
went to a doctor and he had they cut it away or laser?
No, they removed the lens from your eye and they put a new lens in. And now I have 20/15 vision, and I can see my phone, no problem. So I don't need
2015
glasses.
means if you're
I don't need
standing
readers.
if you're standing at 15 feet and Cary's at 20, you see the same clarity on letters. That's roughly what it means, right? 20.
So your near and far vision are both good.
Yeah.
And okay, so
I don't need readers or contacts anymore.
So what are the effects of
do they glue
do
it
you
back
need
in? How
to
do they stick it in
like
there?
your eyelid going? Do you have to moisture or is the tech they use like good?
I mean, it was pretty much painless. I mean, I think I took Advil the first night or something, and that was it. And then the only hassle is you got these series of drops you do maybe over about a month period. Other than that,
and then you're done after a month.
And then you're done.
Did you do one eye the full month, get to 100%?
You do one eye 1 week, and then you come back the next. And if there's no complications, you go back and you do the other eye. But one eye, at least in my case, the dominant eye they optimize for long, for seeing long distance, and then the weaker eye they optimize for seeing up close. But then your brain kind of just handles it.
Well, as a warning or whatever, I don't want to say his name because he might not want to be mentioned, but I know of a fella that before this procedure was available, it was the laser etching thing, and he did it.
Yeah, the laser thing scares me. I wouldn't want to do that one.
Yeah, and he basically can't drive anymore. He has scintillation issues with like lights, but doing extra, and I'm like, ooh, boy, oh boy. And when he plays cards, he has to be like at the 5 seat, and it's really problematic and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, not being able to drive.
So this is a relatively low risk procedure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
I had this
like
lady,
even less than LASIK.
I think so. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I think says she has like maybe one complication a year or something, and then she's usually able to get it resolved.
Okay.
Damn.
Wow.
Okay, so now let's do general health maxing. But that to me was just amazing. I didn't know that
Yeah.
I didn't know that advancements had come past LASIK.
Oh yeah, you got to think like in 10 years they'll probably have lenses where you got 20/10 vision, and you can up close. It's probably like a magnifying glass. Who knows?
You're really the bionic man. That's what they did to Steve Austin back in the $6 Million Man. They like.
Oh yeah, he had the super eye.
Yeah.
That's
He was only one eye. You have 2 eyes. You're bionic double.
yeah. I'm just grateful to be able to see.
It's wild.
So I know that, I don't know, maybe it was like 5 years ago-ish, you started going to a kind of health and longevity clinic called Apeiron in Austin. You actually recommended to a number of
Poker players.
friends or poker players. Like I started going there. I know some other guys did as well. What sort of, I guess, some general takeaways or things you'd want to say? Because I know even just knowing you personally, like you got your weight totally under control, a number of other like health markers that just in the last years have gotten way better. What are some things that, you've done that you feel comfortable kind of as more general recommendations to people or whatever, just for people who are listening who are like, I want to do some things to improve my health.
I'm 56 and I'm in the best shape of my life. So it's never too late to get in shape, right? You just got to and it seems overwhelming in the beginning, but I think the thing about the Apeiron Center is, the doctor there, Dan Stickler, is a real genius on blood. So he looked at my blood, and I was like on my way to becoming pre-diabetic, because I was eating a lot of chocolate, bagels, and just bad diet. The common sense things you're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
right?
and you were just like,
I was just eating, or I diet and whatever. But my weight had pretty much my adult life. I was pretty much always about 15 pounds overweight, maybe 20.
right.
From where you were when you were in shape, like in college or in high school. So he really analyzed my blood work and helped me figure out that I gotta cut back on the sugar. So I did a lot of the work. I quit sugar for a long period of time. Now I'm eating sugar again.
You could have an apple. You just couldn't have something like sugar in your coffee. You could have orange juice.
No, it's like you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying what I did was I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of guy. So it was about 6 years ago, and I just got really
Hold on,
focused.
let me say, just first takeaway about what Cary said. I'm going to spell this out for people because I actually, when I talk to people, I think this is like number one recommendation. Cary's talking about how the guy, Dr. Stickler, was a genius with his blood work. Well, you got to do your blood work.
Yeah.
I think most people that I talk to that want to improve their health, they're not like quarterly, or especially when you're dialing it in. You get it quarterly, you get it analyzed, and you're trying to fix the things that are off. So that's like the number one place to start.
I
'cause
agree.
You need data. Anyway, so
I agree. Yeah, the blood work is key, right? Because like in my wife's case, she had like no testosterone, no estrogen, no progesterone. And and if you go to a normal doctor, they'll be, well, that's what happens when you get older. Well, it doesn't have to happen, right? So in her case, she takes progesterone and estrogen, and testosterone, and she's got normal
What's
hormones.
progesterone for?
I mean, everybody has it, men and women, but it's more predominant in women. I'm not
Okay.
sure exactly what it does. To be frank.
Okay,
I know it's for brain. It helps brain function. I know that for sure.
Oh, I need some of that.
Yeah.
Brain function.
Well, you probably. I mean, men. Men. Actually, the problem with men actually end up having too much progesterone, right? Because our bodies get fatter. And then we end up generating too much progesterone.
Oh, okay.
The more key thing that men need to dial in, especially as they age, would be their testosterone levels
and their blood sugar.
And it is true that, like, if you're doing something that your testosterone's too high, actually increased testosterone production will increase estrogen or progesterone.
Yep.
And so it's about just kind of dialing that in. But that's often something that men, especially if you're starting to feel lackadaisical in your 40s or 50s or whatever, it's oftentimes a test issue. But
he introduced me also to like a kind of an old school drug called enclomiphene.
Yeah, I take that.
Yeah, enclomiphene. So you like
Feels way better than taking tests.
Yeah, you don't have to take testosterone. Yeah. So the great thing about enclomiphene is your body actually produces it. It's just your body produces the testosterone itself. So you don't get the negative effects of a testosterone shot. The only downside is I don't think it works for everybody, but for some reason it works great for me. I think my testosterone went from like 400, which was on the lower side, and now it's like 1200.
I remember I had my testosterone checked under Glenn Beebe. He was like, hey, Phil, and so I did it, and the doctor was like, oh, you're about average. And then I said, oh, Glenn, I'm about average. And he goes, that's not enough. You got, and he was like, you got to be above average with that one, Phil, and he was like, here, and I was like, I was just happy that it wasn't like, depleted or low or whatever. And
yeah,
Glenn was like,
I had an interesting test journey because my test actually wasn't as low as that. It was, I'm younger than you, but it was, I don't know, maybe it was like 700. Yeah. But my free test, which is much more important, was low because I have naturally high SHBG, which basically like blocks it in your blood. So the testosterone you're actually realizing on a free test is lower. So I started taking the enclomiphene, and like when I first started, it was like I was doing it every day, and I had this like crazy high test number, and then my estrogen was high, and then I started taking something else. What I settled in on eventually was I take enclomiphene once a week now, and that's it.
You take 50 milligrams?
I forget exactly what the milligram dose is. I'd have to look, but I take it once a week, and I do. The SHBG, it's like pretty hard to actually affect that. I just like have naturally high. I do take Tongkat Ali, which is supposed to help with it, but I don't know. All my stuff feels like pretty dialed in. But it took me over a year of like changing, the amount or frequency of enclomiphene and some other things too. But I finally got it to a point where my free test is good, and I'm not taking like any estrogen things like blockers or anything, because I was for a little while, and just once a week enclomiphene, and it seems like that's stable at like a great kind of level for at least me right now. But anyway, I'm just, as an example of how, I take the same thing as Cary, I guess. It's like one of these things where taking your blood work and then you kind of mess around and find out how to get your levels all
Did
good.
you take your blood? I heard somebody say, oh, you got to take your blood work and show it to Claude. Claude will be so much better than the doctor. He'll measure it against.
I agree with you. I think the doctor, they run it through, I think the doctor runs it through AI initially, and then he double checks it. So.
I mean, the very best thing is getting a doctor with the expertise like Stickler, who is going to give your case like a decent amount of attention, right? Because now you're getting somebody who's an expert and has some more experience than an AI. Right, or you do that and run it in parallel through an AI, which I was doing for a while, but it's not easy to find a doctor like that, and most doctors that you would find are not super cheap.
And he's probably
they're kind of
Stickler
expensive.
Might be a stickler for details too. I mean, I know he has heard that for 40 years of his life.
Yeah.
Are you a stickler for details as well? But like with that name, he has to be, because he's heard it so many times. He has no choice.
Well, AI is pretty good option. Obviously, what you'd want to get is, I think something just aside about AI here, like there's all kinds of different models you can use. There's not necessarily that big a difference between, but what you want, and you oftentimes have to pay for this, especially when it's something complicated, like I'm going to put in all my blood work stuff. I'm going to put in like my supplement stack and my prescription stack, and you're going to analyze all this. You want it on some kind of deep research thing where it's going to spend 30 minutes analyzing it, right, and comparing. You don't want it on like the quick, where it's a 20-second look and it tells you something. Like you don't want that. Like it needs to spend a lot of time. And now if you get the AI, you put it on the right thinking mode, or you might have to pay for that, and it analyzes and it takes 30 minutes and you come back AI will probably give you a lot of good answers, but you just got to make sure you're using it right.
Also, takeaway for viewers at home: you hear AI and whatever. Trust me. Start playing with it in the most gentle of ways. Just get a simple. You will be stunned, even on the most simple of the free one. I'm like, what? It's so much better than Google. It's like not a 10x.
Google
like
uses AI now.
Yeah, it does now. Yeah, I went to it once and I was like, hey, it's using AI. It's giving it.
Yes.
You have to play with it, because I think also in the next 10 years, if you're not like relatively average user of AI, you might just be left behind, and maybe the robots put you in a zoo and keep you alive. But you really should learn how to do you use it for your Poker Go projects or whatever, and feed it all the information and say, hey, Claude, how could I improve? Do you ever?
I mean, I've tried it before. I can't say I've been able to get anything great for Poker Go at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So with the health stuff, okay, so regular blood work and clomiphene, but what are some other kind of top, like, is there certain peptides or other?
Well, I think there's some basics. Like, I think one thing you need to do, there's like this app called Lose It.
Yeah.
And it's a little orange thing. It just says Lose It. And monitoring what you put in your body. Because then you're accountable to yourself. So you're less likely to like snack or have something you're not supposed to eat if you know you got to monitor it. So if you like, and it doesn't, and it's smart, like because you
picture upload the meals, or do you write?
You can scan it, but you eat the same things over and over again. Yeah. So you type two things in, and then it pops up. So or like yesterday's breakfast, you just click it in. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use an app called MyFitnessPal for it.
Yeah, something. I think you have to document what you put in your body, so you have a general idea of how many calories you're putting in, and you got to have a goal of how many calories. So I try to restrict my calories by 500 a day, but I'm always over. But just because a lot of the tests, just eating less food, right? There's only so many meals you can consume in a lifetime. So I think the less food you eat, the better off you're going to be.
Yep.
One thing I would say, now I don't know if there's things that you could take that would mitigate this effect, but I actually had this exact problem when I was doing like the intermittent fasting, like feeding window, and I was shortening it to like 1 or 2 meals a day, and I was just running it. And as I felt great, especially playing poker, like barely eating anything. I was running calorie deficits for a long time without like normal phases, and I like screwed up my metabolism. And that was actually like an issue I had for a while. And I mean, I kind of noticed it because it's like I'm not even eating that much, but I'm not even losing, or I'm gaining weight or something now. Yeah. And I went and I had to take like a basal metabolic test, and all of a sudden it's boom, you're like 30% under what it should be, which sucks because that's your metabolic rate's like how many calories you eat. Yeah. So it's all of a sudden, instead of, I'm a pretty big guy, but instead of eating, 2,500, it's like per day, it's like 1,900 was my break even. It's crazy. And so then I actually had to like eat more. But anyway, so what I'm getting at is that just like if you're running 500 calorie deficits, don't just like do it indefinitely. Like you need to have times when you go off.
I have cheat days. I think everybody. Yeah. I think I think what you can, if you're starting out and you're trying to lose weight, I think you get, for your sanity, stick to a high protein diet, right, for the first maybe Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday have a cheat day or a big cheat meal, or a cheat meal, not even like a whole day. So then you keep your sanity. Bill Perkins
once bet Jeff Gross that he said there were a lot of weird bets, but one of them that I thought was funny was like, okay, 1 year, no bread, no wheat, or like a list of all the bread adjacent things. And it was a small bet. It was like 20K or something. And he did it. He did a year. And I was like, wow, almost every meal I have, I'm like, how could you like not, I'm amazed. People do it. I eat bread, I think once a day. I have my English muffin with my eggs. Like
bread is a very interesting
story.
You know that like medieval bread was actually quite a healthy food, but we've changed like the wheat and everything, and with the processing so much that it's just most bread, especially like all bread basically you buy at the supermarket, other than maybe Ezekiel bread, is like bad for you.
Yeah, it's straight bad. It's not like having a candy bar, probably.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, actually, it's. I mean, I think it raises people's like blood sugar level as much or more than a lot of candy bars. Wait, a lot of just like the white, whatever bread, like Wonder Bread or something.
This is the dumbest question, but I'm just because it's come up in my head. When you said no sugar, you still can have like a glass of orange juice, or no, because there's sugar. Like how hardcore does the no sugar thing?
Like no processed sugar, really.
No processed sugar. Yeah. Okay.
But I don't really drink any calories, so there's only so many calories you can eat, right? So I just drink water now.
Water and no
drink calories is an amazing rule for most people, Because also it turns out most of the fruit juice that people drink is like they shouldn't anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're buying something from the store, most of the good stuff is like you need fresh squeezed fruit juice. Like stuff you're buying at the store, the process that makes it not go bad, whatever it's called.
One of my
like,
favorite things are
pretty
those
much strips
supermarkets
it
where
of-
you push the button, and even if I just will always, get the little thing, and then the oranges come down, and you watch them, and you're like, this is cool. Like,
I think it's important to keep it simple, right? And I think more importantly, I think people need to stop eating breakfast. Breakfast, I think, is the biggest. I know, everybody enjoys breakfast, right? But it's a scam. You don't want to break your fast, right? So I think that not eating breakfast and just waiting till lunch, your body gets used to it, right? Eating breakfast is just a habit you've had your whole life, right? But I think your body gets used to it. Maybe you need to just
Jennifer never has a breakfast.
like you drink a lot. Maybe you just drink more fluid. You drink more water in the morning, right?
Right.
Just to eliminate that hunger. But so like in my case, mainly all I do is I eat dinner, I eat lunch, and I'll eat dinner, and that's it. And I've cut out all snacking.
Oh, it's beast mode.
Well,
No snacking, no breakfast, just lunch and dinner.
But I've gotten to the point now that I can kind of, those meals I can kind of cheat now. I can do, I can now I can have, I can go out and have Mexican, eat some chips, and so my body's gotten used to it. So now I've been having a lot more cheat meals than I did when I was trying to get down.
You have good discipline, sir. That's good.
Yeah.
And then playing poker, I like to just get down and just have one meal on those days. But it's like a feast. I mean, it'll be like 4 eggs, bacon, and French toast. It'll be like a huge feast. But then I'm done eating, and you get used to it, and you're not hungry at night. I mean, the first couple of nights you're probably hungry.
Eating at night is actually, I think, the biggest key. I think whether or not you should have breakfast or how good it is also depends on how active you're going to be that day. Like you're going to be very active, especially like do some sport for an hour and a half. Like eating breakfast is kind of
when
great.
you did the night
or maybe
snacks,
just do breakfast like on the one day a week on the weekends, and then to speed up your metabolism, right?
Right.
I also like if I'm just sitting and concentrating, not eating really breakfast was great. I liked that a lot. But I think the thing that's a bigger key that's almost always universally true is like don't eat too late at night. Like whatever your last meal should be at least a couple hours before bed, especially if it's something heavy to digest like red meat, then it's like 4 hours.
Chicken's even
You
harder
would
to
do
digest.
cottage cheese and peanut butter, right?
Because what happens is that you want your stomach to be clear because you sleep way better when you're not working on the digestion in your stomach.
No, they actually
like a
you
huge thing,
really
actually.
shouldn't be eating like 6 hours before you go to sleep, which I know is really hard.
Six?
And-
That's what it is tough to do.
Well, the reason for that is anything that elevates your heart rate is bad. Like late night eating or like having alcohol, it's like catastrophic for your sleep.
Yeah.
So the key is you really want to do everything you can to get your heart rate as low as possible. So by not eating and not drinking before bed, you're gonna sleep so much better.
But I thought that was a weird snack. You would go cottage cheese and almond butter or something like that. When you wanted I remember this was like 7 years ago, you were having cottage cheese, and it was not applesauce and cottage cheese. It was cottage cheese, and it was either almond butter or peanut butter. I was like, man, I tasted it. I was like, that is the weirdest combo. I was like, Rast is funny.
I can't remember. I haven't eaten cottage cheese in a long time, so it's
That was your cheat at night.
the thing that I try to have, and I usually have it in the evening every day, is I have a big bone broth.
That's a really nice one. Yeah.
Yeah, I like bone broth is a great kind of hack, I think, because you buy a thing of bone broth. I like to buy this brand Bonafide, because it's frozen. I just feel weird buying, because a lot of bone broth you buy, it'll just be like room temperature in a carton. And I'm just like, the only way this works is if it's got crazy preservatives in it. So screw it. Like, I want this frozen brand. And what Jason Kuhn told me about it. Okay, he's pretty healthy. So
Like chiseled.
Bonafide.
Bonafide.
They have chicken, beef, and turkey, really, and I just rotate. But it's like I kind of have one a day, and they're great because in just over 100 calories, it's basically all collagen protein.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're trying to eat a high-protein diet, kind of like I try to get at least 200 grams of protein, this can really help. This can like boost. Yeah, I try to do like my body. I'm like 200 pounds. So I don't know. It's like, you're all of a sudden you're getting, 120 calories, 24 grams of protein. Boom. It can help even out, like if you're not as high on some other things.
And for the
collagen's good for your skin. Like good, like
I wanted to just add that if you're like a normal person that is not exposed to bone broth until recently, like that whole thing didn't weave into my life till less than 5 years ago, and I'm like, wow, for how innocuous and simple a thing, it's actually tasty and healthy. But like I was always stunned, like what is this bone broth? I just dismissed it for 92% of my life. Then I'm like, wow, bone broth is like, okay, I'll have a little bone broth. Like it's the weirdest thing. You see it on the menu. Get it if you haven't had it. You'll be surprised. It's actually a
hot,
tasty
sippy drink.
Okay,
You
you
add in
know
some
when bone
spices and salt.
broth is fantastic if you're doing like a 3-day fast. If
Yeah.
you can't go like do the full water fast, then you have like bone broth at night, like for dinner.
I've
It's
done that
It's the
before.
best thing you've ever had in your life.
Right. Yeah.
At that time because you're starving.
You're like,
I've done that before. Yeah, instead of doing a full like water fast,
Yeah.
just like some bone broth. Yeah. It does taste even better when you're doing that for sure.
what's next for Poker Go? How's it gonna? I mean, I know we finished, but we're
No, we got some exciting things coming up.
Really?
We got,
Tell us.
we got the National Heads Up Poker Championship on Peacock.
I'm
assuming you're both playing, right?
I'm playing, and
I'm leaving
On
town
Thursday.
on Wednesday. So yeah, I gotta go. I gotta find time to go to Brazil before, and I'm already almost
World
running
Series.
out of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely playing it, and I hope to do better. Well,
Maybe we'll have a match against each
that would
other.
be awesome. Last time I busted my first.
I did
round.
play last time. It was fun. It was great.
Just know, Phil, I know how tight you are.
Did you know that on Poly Market they didn't? Yeah, I blew off my chips with 6-4 spades. I think I gave like
That's
I
only
gave up my
that's
chance.
only on camera.
that's only they only, but like
I know what false advertising
Poly
is.
Market had a line after that event finished. They were like, "Who's gonna win the heads up thing?" And I'm looking at it. I'm like, "Wow, do people not know that it already happened?"
Yeah.
And then eventually you see
Yeah,
the
they should have
truths.
never put it on there.
So
but-
that's because it should be all the bets it would have to be before the first cards are in the air.
Sure.
Because
Yeah, you got to close it down at that point for sure.
Yeah, I think those sites, they're great. I really like the Poly Market model, like especially, dude, if, for example, I like betting UFC. It's like the model is the line is so much tighter than in like a sports book where they're taking at least 5 cents each way, and Poly Market it's like a cent oftentimes market, which is amazing. But they should be a little bit more careful about stuff people can bet on.
right, like the Maduro
Like
thing.
I don't even know. They should even almost. I feel like from their own self-interest, it's like if you put out enough stuff where it's like, okay, we're betting on somebody's whether they're going to live or die. Okay, there are people who might complain about this because it's immoral. They'll feel like it's immoral. Or 2, you're betting on markets where somebody like knows the answer. Like
Right.
it's very easy to just be an insider, and now it's like this isn't really, a fair market at all, right? Like I feel like they should self-regulate a little bit. With some of that stuff.
Anything where people know the outcome, it should just be closed immediately.
Yeah.
At that point, yeah.
Yeah, like what will this person sing at the halftime? It's like, well, they
the
they
guy
probably know.
No,
like,
on that one there was
yeah.
a fella. He did a TikTok on it. He went to the stadium to the outside and listened and had Shazam and whatever, and he timed and he knew the amount of seconds and whatever. Then he did all the work. He went back and he scooped a bunch of bets because he had listened to 3 practice sets the day before the previous days. And I was like, oh, it's like he did his work, to get that win.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna while we took a little minute break, we're back. I just want to say in that break you missed one thing, and somebody said science, bro, which is a callback to Jesse Pinkman, Aaron Paul in Breaking Bad. And then we had a fact that I didn't know. Please share.
Very interesting Breaking Bad fact is that Pinkman was supposed to be killed off in the final scene of season 1. But remember the scene when Tuco beat the hell out of his henchman, that big guy.
Yep.
I can't remember his name. He beats him to death, and then he hides him he ends up hiding. He's like, do that thing, And anyways, that guy ends up dying because Tuco beats him to death. That was supposed to be Pinkman was supposed to be killed off in that scene, but I guess because Walt and Jesse had such amazing chemistry, they're like, we can't possibly. We got to keep this thing going.
By the way, Aaron Paul
Amazing
loves
audible
poker.
because that is like those guys. What a show!
Yeah.
Killing him off, like how that would have changed everything.
Man.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
that was probably
Yeah.
the best show ever.
I
remember the first.
What the best ending? I mean, they literally went out at the perfect time too. It was 5
Everything was
seasons, or was it 7 seasons?
I feel like nailing endings is pretty hard for shows, but it was 5 seasons, so they didn't go on too long. They nailed it. Yeah, there were some like phenomenal episodes in that show. I remember maybe my favorite one. There was like a 2-parter where it was like something this, something that. But yeah, they had what a show, Breaking Bad.
And Aaron Paul loves poker. I know that.
Have you played with him?
Well, you should have got him in the heads up.
Yeah. Oh, I don't.
He's playing the heads up.
No, that would be great if he did.
That would be. I don't. Would you comp his ticket? Probably, right? For a guy like that.
That one we probably that one
You have to
we'd
comp.
yeah.
I mean, he can afford it, but But yeah. So okay, now
Okay, so I have another kind of like line of questions for you. So I know another side thing that you do, because here we have like a serial entrepreneur, hard worker, Cary Katz. He's also involved with like kind of like a VC operation that you have some deal flow and get deals. What's the name of the?
It's called Dream Ventures.
Dream Ventures.
Yeah, we started about 4 years. We started it 4 years ago.
So I know that. Well, part one is, how did that happen? Like, how do you get your deal flow? And then the second part is one way that you sent me a deal for Valar Atomics. And I remember when I got it, like, I don't really love investing in deals like too much, but you had talked to me, and first you were just like very confident about this being a good deal. And second, even just me looking at, okay, it's one of these 11 companies that has a license to split the atom. Yeah. So it's like they have, some like prime real estate, let's call it. And also whatever it's called, what do they call it in investing? It's like a buffer or whatever. It's some kind of separation that, value that's hard to overcome, whatever that term is. But the other thing too, CEO that's young and impressive. Yeah. And I just think like anybody looking at the world today, it's like you kind of want to be in the energy making business. And nuclear energy seems like something that's been a little historically undervalued for a number of reasons, but it's actually quite safe in this and that. So I was like, okay, fine. Like I'm in whatever that terms, let's go. And so they've been doing pretty amazing since we even put the money in like 6 months ago. But anyway, so what do you talk to us about Valar Atomics, talk to us about Dream Ventures.
Dream Ventures. Yeah. Well, we launched our first fund about 3 years ago. It's called Dream Fund 1, and it was a $50 million fund. And we invested in around 60 different companies. Mainly 70% of it's in tech, the others in CPG.
What's CPG?
Consumer packaged goods.
Okay.
And the fund's doing great. I mean, at this point, it's already, I think when the next markups come out, it's going to be at a 4x, and that's after 3 years, so it's off to a hell of a start. We have a company in there right now called Micro One. It's an AI company, and the founder of the company, my partner, happens to be my son-in-law. His name's Richard Blankenship, and sometimes you just see talent, and we've worked together now for 12 years. It was long before he was my son-in-law. We've been working together, and he is very talented. He can he just has great instincts. He's working he loves working. I mean, he works probably 90 plus hours a week. So it's, to me, I feel like I got like the Michael Jordan of Dream Venture on my team. So I'm like, let's back him. Let's do this fund. Like the first investment he ever brought me was this company called Cuts. It was a T-shirt company, and I was in the gym, and he's like pitching me on it. I'm like, what the hell do you know about T-shirts? So I didn't invest in it, and what it ended up being I think it's like a 25x at this point. So the next deal he brought me was this company called Prize Out, which is a way when you're cashing out, when you're cashing things out, instead of cashing out, like you're cashing it off a site, for like gambling site, for example, you're cashing $100 out, or you could prize out and maybe get $120 in gift certificates instead. So some people prefer to prize out. Or maybe there's a restaurant near you really like, and you'll get $150 instead of just cashing out for $100.
Okay, yep.
And then the vendor doesn't have to pay a vig. So it works out well for everybody.
Right.
So that company we felt like was like a $1 billion idea, and we invested in that at the 10 million level, and that company's worth like 400 million now. So we're pretty excited.
40x.
That was the second deal he ever brought me.
When he came to first one, the cut with the T-shirt, was that what he? When you said and you said no, did he source the money from elsewhere?
Yeah, he found some money in other places. I mean, we ended up putting some money in later down the road. I just didn't put it in early.
When he comes to you with something, you're like, hey, this is the guy.
Yeah, no, look, he's the main decision maker. He's got a great team around him. They've just got, it's like a special ops team. They've just got a really good, cool, talented team. They love working together. I call it he's got an office in Park Towers, and I call it the frat house. It's where they just go and they hang out and they just work on deals all day long.
Bro, I want to slide you a little nickel. Can I get into the next raise? Or if there is I want to.
Yeah, no, we launched Dream Fund 2, Dream Fund 2 is going to be another 50, maybe $100 million fund. We got some.
I'll slide a little nickel.
We got some interesting investments in there for sure.
Okay.
But the prize out deal was the thing that kind of bootstrapped our ability to raise a fund because he was picking winners out, and so this Valor Atomics deal is really outside of Dream Fund. It's a special purpose vehicle, and Richard, he met the founder and saw what they were doing. He was just blown away. I mean, this company is special. This company, I think it's going to be. It could be the biggest energy company in the world.
Wow. And you have a little taste of that, right? You always pick winners, kid. But you picked me, so that's okay. It's like,
You're going to be, dude, you're going to actually you're going to be really jealous about this, Phil.
Oh, my God.
Antonio.
But whenever
I remember you saying something. I could have got in that. You actually.
I did, yeah.
You did. I remember that. Oh, wow. I should have just said yes.
Antonio aped in, and he actually probably because he knew it was coming from Cary, he did it more than the robotics, the other one that I only did 2 last year. That one in a robotics company.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So.
But whenever you invest in in these private deals, it's always liquidity, right? So you never know when the liquidity is going to be. So you got to be in a position. You got to be able to just you put the money, you put the bet on. You're basically making a bet.
Throw it,
and then you got to just
10, 20 years gone.
Maybe not that long. I mean, hopefully it'll be a 3 to 5 year horizon. Okay. So.
Well, yeah,
why did I say yes? I remember you talking to me. I was like, energy, yeah, okay, I didn't, and then I didn't follow through.
I just think I really wanted to invest in nuclear energy and sort of because I'm in this chat with a bunch of guys who are traders and investors. It's a pretty high level chat, and there's a lot of talk how do you invest in AI? Okay, the points a lot of memory, some memory plays like Micron or SNDK. Right, or you find the bottlenecks.
Yep.
And then it's one of my ideas has been okay. Well, you see the China-U.S. kind of power graph of if you look at the energy production, sometime quite a while ago, China passed the U.S. and they're actually rate of power production. Not only are they ahead of us with how much power they're producing, their rate of production is up, and it's
no, they have over 50 working reactors.
And it's if we want to compete with them,
0 to 50
in the new world with AI and all the data centers and all this, we have to ramp up our power production, and I actually think that's something this administration has gotten right because they're stamp of approval, let's go,
Well, you look at this administration. I mean, obviously, people on the left really hate Trump, but the one thing that you gotta that he's done is if you look the government bureaucracy, right? It's we had when Biden was in office. It was we had 95% blocked arteries. It's just nothing was happening, right? There's just Trump gets in, puts the right people in the regulatory spots, and has cleaned out these arteries. Right now, the blood's flowing again, and deals can get done. Now you can actually build nuclear reactors, right? They're going to actually have operating nuclear reactors. By this summer.
God, everything was clogged up. There was
but if you've got the government bureaucracy gets out of control, then it's it's 12 years to get approvals. What
about the Minnesota daycare centers? That was a booming business. That was I had to throw that joke in.
So Valor Atomics' idea, by the way, their idea isn't really a science progression, right? It's more of an engineering thing. Their idea is small modular bus-sized reactors that you can small enough to ship first from a manufacturing perspective, much easier to manufacture cheaply something that's smaller rather than huge reactors. And then from just using them in places because they're small, it's you can put 4 here, you can put 10 over here, you can put 20 over here. If you need to, you can transport them. If somehow you need to change how much is in one place
portable.
or another. I mean, it's
portable
nuclear.
Pretty sweet idea
around the world.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. You never think of nuclear being
the founder's just one of those 180 IQ guys. I mean, just a super genius. He's got an interesting backstory. His great grandfather worked on the Manhattan Project.
Wow,
which is unbelievable, right?
Yeah, it is.
But he's just a good man with a good head on his shoulders. He's got I think he has 4 kids. He married his grade school sweetheart.
Grade school.
Yeah, he raises his family in Idaho, but then he has he has got an office in L.A. So was sleeping in the office, that kind of guy. So he just works incredibly hard. He's got a great team. I met his team. They have like tremendous energy. It's almost like they're it's almost like a religious experience for them. I mean, they just want to accomplish it. They're like working as a team. They want to get it done. So I think I think they're going to be the winner. I think they're going to be the #1 nuclear power.
Do they need a nickel? Or are they all done collecting their nickels? Now they're just in work
I don't
mode?
think they need any more nickels.
Well,
we did help them.
Well, so Phil, I will let you know. I think our raise was like 400, and now they're doing another raise. It may or may not be complete. That was like $2 billion.
No, it's already closed out.
Oh, it's closed. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I was oversubscribed.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think Peter Thiel or somebody said in a podcast, if you miss a unicorn or miss like a 20 or a 40X, don't cry because you're thinking about trying to find them, and you will have to miss some along your road to success. You will miss great opportunities if you're looking, and because you can't say yes to everything. You have to say no, and some will trickle through, and they'll be like.
I actually was considering saying no to this because I felt like the terms were kind of wild. It was like the 20, but then if it's over 100 bagger, it's a 20
we
more.
probably don't want to get into those kind of details.
But I'm just like, but the thing is, I wanted to get a nuclear so bad, and Cary was so positive about this that I'm like, fuck it, bro. Just ship the money.
Ship it, you know? I mean, half the game is like,
I'm
that's
like, you know what? I guess if it's over 100 bagger, I won't mind if they're taking a 40 ball out of everything.
I do feel like there's a certain responsibility to wealth where when you are lucky enough to accrue some of it, it shouldn't be stockpiled. You should look at the world and say, how can I kind of help? It can't just be 100K high rollers. I don't even do that with my money, but like you should be looking at, hey, how can I have the money in the world doing stuff, not just stockpiled? Like make bets on the world. It's I mean, maybe not for everyone, but I'm not very good at it, but I'm kind of addicted to thinking that's what money's for, is to find another deal. It's like,
well, yeah, I mean, the goal is to make as much money as you can, but on top of that, I mean, eventually you just got to start giving it away.
Yeah,
of course.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough to get to that point, the goal should be to try to give away all the money you have.
Correct.
To people who need it.
Call out.
Once you've taken care of your family.
Right. Guy with zero Perkins style. Yeah. That is on my want list, to be able to give away while I'm alive, not when I'm dead.
One thing I've made a decision on recently was that I'm from now on anytime cash, regardless of the buy-in, I'm going to donate it. I'm starting a charity called All In for Christ, and basically anytime I cash, it's just going to go to that charity. Now that charity is going to be more of like a hub. 100% of that money will then go to other Christian charities that I know are given have very, very low administrative costs.
Yeah. It's like the Bill Klein thing, where if he wins or loses, he gives that to his Orange County charities and stuff.
Oh no, the Bill Klein's the best.
Yeah,
it's so great. And he actually came in for the U.S. Poker Open. He was struggling with cancer again. He was having some health issues, and he's come back. So it was like the return of the king.
Yeah,
we were very happy to have him come back to the
Bill actually was one of the kind of like original people that Cary got to come play the stuff when he was running those tournaments. I played a lot with Bill.
Oh yeah.
Over the years at like Cary's tournaments before it was even the Poker Go stuff. And dude, Bill, he's like the nicest guy at the poker table. He's just there having a good time, like relaxed. Yeah,
and he plays anything. He'll play the 100Ks, but I've also, at the bike, they'll do those like, there's 7-day ones, and then there's 3.
Oh, he does that?
3. I played one with him. It was 280. It was like the 2 p.m. I'm like, whatever. I signed up, and I'm at Bill's table. I'm like, this is great. Infinite money guy. It's like, because poker's fun, and if that's the only game in town and there's no sit down, play, I was like, but I do love what he does with his charity. It's not just when he wins. If he loses $500,000, give it a half. It's like win or lose. It's like real, like deep charity prowl.
That's very
so All In for Christ. So then the money. So if you win, let's say $1 million at the World Series of Poker, you just take that milli, and I'm
going to give it to All In for Christ, and then it'll go to other Christian charities that are like
that's kind of beastly.
That are incredibly efficient in terms of distributing the funds.
Right.
Like at least like no more than like 5% admin costs. Right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it feels right. Now, then I get to play when I'm all in. I'm all in for Christ.
All in for God.
Yeah, exactly.
All in for God, not just for this moral.
Not just for me.
That's cool.
So
you could even have
it's kind of a cool name too. I think. Yeah. I think tied into the poker and everything. So
yeah, beautiful. So okay.
So speaking of the WSOP, so how much are you planning on playing this year? Because it's right around the corner, or a month away.
I plan on playing almost every day. I got.
I thought you're like
as bad as I'm running this year. Like I've had like the worst year I've ever had.
Yep.
I'm having more fun than ever. It's crazy. I like usually like I don't because usually when you're running bad, you start you're not playing as well either, and you're second guessing everything you did. So
Right.
I don't know. I feel like it's good. All I know is that when it turns, it's going to be a lot of fun. You know what I mean? When the variance turns, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe this is
glorious.
perfect. This could be perfect timing.
Man, I think even though it's all in for Christ, I like all in for God. That sounds more powerful, has more punch. The T-shirts would sell like 18%. You get 18% more sales on the T-shirts. It just sounds more.
Well, I'll tell you. I just
God, it's like so good. It's new. I never heard of it till today. I like it. That's great.
Well, I will say this. Christ is a very specific religious claim, whereas God is much less specific.
All-encompassing,
Yeah,
sort of. Like some people think God is.
It's like God, like Buddhist believes in God.
Yeah.
have you guys seen on Amazon Prime the Chosen?
I have, yeah.
Wait,
My
I watched
mom
it.
recommended it to me. I watched it. It's
Give me
a
the
great
clip.
show.
It was incredibly well done. Yeah, I'm in the middle of season 5. It's
It's
amazing. It's
5
like
came out
on a
last year.
It's on a granular level. They actually cover Jesus' life from the age of 26 through 33, and it shows the development of. Obviously there's some artistic license in there, but the words of Jesus are actually in there.
Yeah.
And the big thing, turning water into wine, healing the withered hand, healing the lepers, all those things, raising Lazarus from the dead, all the miracles. Like in my mind, because I'm an analytical guy, when you watch like a movie on Jesus, you think like you feel like it all happened like in a few weeks. You know what I mean? The miracles,
Right.
and the apostles. It's just kind of like you don't really know the apostles that well. You watch a movie and it's like it's over, and then but you didn't realize that he was performing miracles for over 3 years in front of thousands of witnesses. It's like that's a lot of evidence.
Yeah, a lot. And I remember.
It's like for an analytical guy.
The
it's overwhelming.
other big thing that's crazy is that I think all of the 12 apostles, 11 of them other than one, were all put to death
in horrible ways.
in mostly very horrible ways, and which could have all been avoided if they just said that Jesus Christ is not the Son of God. And none of them were willing to do it, and they were crucified upside down, burned alive, like crazy shit, and that most people might want to get out of if they didn't really believe what they were saying.
Funny thing about the
That's
Bible-
also from an analytical standpoint, that's like pretty strong. So
The other,
I wanna
the other thing I
throw-
didn't know either is like when you see a movie on it, like he comes back from the dead right after 3 days, and then it's like he meets with the apostles and then he ascends to heaven. But he actually walked the earth for 40 days, like thousands of people saw him. Like he showed his wounds to people.
Right. Yeah.
So the evidence is like it's pretty overwhelming. I don't know. I just
I remember taking.
it never really hit me as hard until recently. Like I've been a Catholic in name, but I haven't really practiced it the way I should be. And my wife and I, we've just really, we're all in on our faith at this point.
I'll tell you that
hold on.
I grew up as a Catholic.
Yeah.
Just like very similar. I did the sacraments up into whatever the confirmation.
Yeah.
I definitely would have called myself agnostic for most of my like young adulthood. My wife kind of helped me transition a bit into being generally spiritual, but not. But somewhere coinciding around with starting to watch The Chosen and doing my own kind of research and reading on things, I changed to, believing in Jesus Christ. And so, yeah, it's I think that show is like very well done. And I'm also a person who like something happens in the episode and I'll go look up things after. And yeah, obviously with the conversations, they're taking artistic license, but they are keeping true to a lot of like the timeline, the chronology, even as you said, like when it's like the Sermon on the Mount, there's like literal things that it's like he's saying this in the show and that'll be like exactly out of one of the passages in the Bible. So,
it's the most
interesting.
translated show that's ever been created, 160 languages.
Wow, that's crazy.
I thought it was Baywatch. Really, Baywatch was like a massive success.
Well, to me, look, to me, being all in for it literally believing in Jesus, it's like a free roll. Like in poker terms,
Right,
it is a free roll.
There's a phenomenon.
Right, it's like I don't know. It seems like a good free roll to take.
What philosopher Thomas or something? I remember reading something 100 years ago where, it's the free roll because like if you don't believe in God and there is a heaven, you've messed up. But if you believe in God and there is no God, okay, whatever. But the times you believe in God and there is a heaven, oh yeah, that's the real win.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like,
I also feel, I really believe that Soren Kierkegaard has, like, part of his philosophy is basically the leap of faith. And his idea is that you can't intelligibly explain to another rational being, like another human, like exactly why you believe in a way that they will understand. And I really believe that's true about these matters, because it's like you can talk to somebody who's, oh, yeah, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, or I believe in Buddha or whatever. And if you're just like looking for cold, logical reasons, like they're never going to prove it to you, right? It's always like this stuff has happened to me in my life, or this experience, or this feeling, or whatever. And like no one, it can go back. It's like this thing happened a couple thousand years ago. Again, we're talking, okay, well, there's seems to be strong evidence that maybe this wasn't fake because like these people reacted this way. That's not proof. Like that's, you know, it's not like a cold, hard, proven thing, but it ends up being something you feel. And again, it's like you make the leap of faith. I believe for him, it was like jumping off a cliff, right? It was the analogy that he used. And it's like very interesting because, you know, you talk about these things and like somebody who's, you know, maybe atheist or agnostic and is going to look at this from a real cold, hard logic, you're never going to convince them with that. It's like they can hear kind of your testament and your experience, and maybe they will find something in their life that helps them see things differently. But it will always be that personal experience and leap of faith, I feel like.
I think today a lot of people learn stuff about Cary Katz that they otherwise would not have known. And
especially with the last name with Katz. I mean, it's like that's what 99 point. It's got to be 99.9% are Jewish.
that's true.
Yeah, the only person that comes to
it
mind
is
in
literally
poker is
like-
Aaron Katz, and I'm pretty sure he's Jewish.
Yep. That's
Well,
wild.
well, my father was adopted. He was Jewish. I think he was like 40% Jewish, and then my mother was Irish Catholic. So, but then we really weren't raised with any religion at all.
Huh.
We didn't go to church at all. They
were raised with
they were
the-
burned out. It was the 70s. They were just burned out on
You had a side religion, which was the hustle. Get in and make it happen. Work. Cut out your
Did you
pizza.
raise Catholic? Did you undergo any of the sacraments when you were like
No.
first communion?
No, it
or-
wasn't until I got to Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't even baptized until I was like, I guess it was like maybe 10, 12 years ago,
Okay.
maybe 10 years ago.
It's wild. And today I learned that you're part of the God Squad.
I am. Yeah. It's
Well,
I don't,
look,
I don't
to me,
talk
it's a free, it's a free roll, right? So why not? And I don't know. It like, for example, my wife is really like, she's just all in, especially over like the last 3 months. It's just been life changing for her. She went from having like a lot of anxiety and concerns about dying and those things. Now it's like she wakes up in the morning. She's like, she just feels like a 10 every morning. Every morning you kind of like, you give up control in a way, and you just believe it. It makes your life
It's for
so much,
sure
it
gonna be-
it simplifies your life beyond measure and feels good. I mean,
I
feels right.
also feel like believing and having faith helps me be a better person.
yeah.
Like,
You know what?
it's
You know what was
crazy,
really
but,
helpful?
like I think I'm able to morally be a better person through belief in Jesus Christ.
For sure. And you know, one thing that was actually interesting was I went on AI because I wanted to see exactly like what you're supposed to like confess to.
Yeah.
Like, so I went through the confession list, like this laundry list of sins, right? So like the first time you've done it like in ages. So, you know, your list is really long, like on all the sins you've had.
Right.
I have no mortal sins, I'm proud to say, but a lot of venal sins. And so you go through that process, and you know, I basically, you know, would delete the ones I didn't do, and then I brought the list in. I went to confession, and I went through like this laundry list. Anyways, my wife was gonna kill me for this, but the father who was actually taking the confession, I knew him. He was the one who baptized me. I recognized his voice, and I couldn't help myself. I said, "Hey, Father Marcus, how are you?" And he said, "It's the first time in 50 years anyone's ever greeted him in a confession." But I couldn't help it. And then I had to read through my laundry list of confessions. And my wife's like, "Great, now he knows my confessions." So I she's like, "You outed me." He's like, "It's hard to remember them all." So. Anyways, but the next time you do it, it's nice to know it puts it back in in the back of your mind. You're like, well, you're not supposed to gossip. You know, you're not supposed to do these. You're not supposed to look at other women. You're not supposed to, you know, all these little things that, and just the fact that you're conscious of it, and then the list gets smaller. So you go in the confession the next time, and all of a sudden now your list is kind of small. It's smaller.
Right.
You're kind of proud of that, and you're like, you see where you're falling short, and you're like, all right, well maybe I'll do better next time. It's like using the Lord's name in vain. Like I just a terrible habit. I've always done that. So, but this is like the first time I think I've gone without doing it.
Huh. That's wild.
So it's like, it's just because you're conscious and aware of it. So you're trying to do better.
Yeah. I feel like there had been a long time where I felt that, right, my transition to being spiritual, like believing in God, whatever, kind of whatever that means, but not necessarily Christian. But it's like I definitely recognize that it's like, wow, I really believe that Jesus at that time, I'm like, maybe he's not the son of God and some of the stuff wasn't true, but he's a profound moral philosopher in like a way that almost no one has been. I almost feel like, if you want to really encapsulate, and maybe this was from the Sermon on the Mount, but like it's like Jesus's moral philosophy into two very simple precepts. It's like, one, love the Lord your God above all things. And it's like, if you want to conceptualize like what God is goodness and God is love. And so it's like, if you're putting that above all things, it's like I'm putting like being good and love as like my highest values. Like you're going to do a lot of, like, that's a good start. And then the second one is essentially the golden rule, like treat your fellow man the way you want to be treated. I almost feel like you could derive an amazing, profound moral philosophy just from those two things that he said in like a very brief moment in the Sermon on the Mount. And so, and in a way where the world would be such a good place if people just kind of tried to, let's say, believe in God, put him above all things, such that like love and goodness are my two highest values. And then number two, like just treat my fellow man the way you wanted to be treated. Like you would derive the 10 Commandments and a bunch of other things that just kind of like make sense. Like don't kill people. Great. Yeah.
My
Golden
current
rule solves that. Like
my current sin I'm trying to wiggle out of my game is I have a tendency to whoop it up a little too much if a really exciting thing in poker happens and I realize, wow, that guy just suffered by my 4-outer. Like I really have to rein it in. I get carried away sometimes, like in that new.
You're a bad winner.
I think sometimes I am.
I'm bad too.
Or I'll just sit there and I'll throw some.
I celebrate way too much.
I'm like, why did I just say that? I'll say, and I'll realize I have to improve the 45 seconds after a devilish suck out or something. I have to be a better human.
No. Like that's the nice thing. If you're at the studio, it's like a home game, so you're allowed to celebrate.
A little bit,
yeah. Maybe at the World Series of Poker when you're playing with someone.
I think it's okay to enjoy it to a certain. Some of it matters how you do it.
There was a guy in the Pokemon.
Like it's okay
won the
to
thing
be
and he
happy.
did this and he got ousted and second place guy got first and I watched the little. So I was like, what? That wasn't even. He went yes. That was about it. He won some big Pokemon competition online and I was like, wow. They took that rule way too seriously. Over celebration.
You'll keep your joy. It's one of the fun things about you is your joy.
Yeah,
like
definitely. We definitely want you to celebrate. You do maximum celebration.
Well, I'm very happy that you came and joined us as a guest, and I can't say which number guest you were because they might be distributed to the world in a non-chronological order. But thank you for being a guest. That was amazing, and sharing all this stuff. And I'm sure the people that. A lot of people are going to be like, what, 32 wins? What, 42.5 million? What, like 6 kids? There's a lot of whats. And you're like, huh? And the eye thing, you let somebody peel away part of your eye, put it in I guess that's more common now.
They go in, they take out the cloudy lens, the old one.
They put in
they put a nice fresh one in that's going to last 50 years. So, no, but it's painless. Is it?
Yeah. Yep. And then the health max.
No, but just with everything. Listen, with your journey through business, your journey through poker, your family, health. I just feel like you have really done an amazing job of just going on these journeys and optimizing and having like amazing outcomes. And it's really impressive, Cary. So
Cary, and when you do Dream 2, the fund on Dream 2, I'm going to ship you a nickel. Yeah.
All right.
I missed the nuclear one. This is going to be an 80 bagger for sure because I'm not in. And Antonio shipped heavy for sure. Maybe a 180 bagger because let's see. Let's do an outro. Can you do the outro today?
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for joining us here on
the camera.
The last podcast that's been created. Here we are, Late Reg.
Late to the game.
We late regged the podcast game. So thanks for coming out with Phil, Laak, and myself, Brian Rast. Hope you enjoyed the time today with Cary Katz, amazing human being, and we appreciate your time, Cary, and yours as well for listening. Thank you.